Welcome back to State of the Nation. We're looking at the vexed issue of decentralizing the Nigerian police force. Oladende Ario is a security expert. He's with me in our Lagos studios, as well as Abolarinwa Tubosun. He is in our Abuja studios. Let me come to you again in Abuja.
I didn't finish my point.
We'll come to you and for you to finish your point. Okay. But let me get this one very straight from you. Do you think that people who support the decentralization of the police force are wrong in their thinking? Or do we need to strengthen the existing police structure instead?
Thank you very much for that. The current policing system or structure we have now is the one that has been put in place by our colonial master as far back as 1940s. We attempted reform between 2010 and now, and we failed in that. It's a question that you and I have been asking ourselves for a very long time. The current policing system, where from every nook and cranny of Nigeria need to relate to Abuja or take order from Abuja, despite the fact that we have zonal DIGs all over the country, we have zonal AIGs all over the country, but they still cannot effect or make a sound decision without referring back to Abuja. It's not a system that we should sustain. It is a system that we need to review urgently. I could see that we seem to be mixing the decentralization of police and state police together, and I want to think both are two different things unless somebody is trying to trick somebody into something here. I've not seen the full wordings, full text of what this decentralization is going to take. I'm looking at it from the literary point of view and some little bits and pieces we're picking up everywhere. And I think we shouldn't mix the two. But when it comes to giving the police officers and the structure we have currently the power to be able to deal with things without fearing of backlash from Abuja, giving all those AIGs and DIGs and CPs the power to use the training that has been given to them to deal with issues without any Inspector General of Police breathing down their neck, I think it is the direction we need to go now. And the best time to do it is now. It will align us with the policing of the 21st century. Whether we are ripe for state policing or not is another different ballgame, which I really don't want to dabble into at the moment.
Okay, let me come in between. Let me come and just interject and come back to Lagos, because you were itching to answer and even finish on your point that you were raising before we went on break.
Right. I really need to appreciate Mr. Bolariwa, because he spoke my mind when he said we should separate decentralization from having state police. For me, they can put the enabling law in place, leave it there, and let's see which state feels qualified, capable, okay, to say, okay, we want state police. For me, only Lagos State has capacity. When you look at the number of people in LASMA, the VIO Corps, and of course the neighborhood corps too, they are large enough to make for state police. Not only that, Lagos supports the Nigerian police as it is, very heavily year in, year out. So much so that a trust fund was established for that purpose. And corporate Lagos has been supporting. And of course, the government too has been massively supporting. To that extent, we can say, let's move ahead. Okay? And I was saying, most of the governors, they operate as if they are emperors managing empires. That has to be considered. Because if, for instance, Ekiti had the state police during the last election, the story would have been very different.
How?
Oh, are you asking me how?
How? Yes.
You mean if the governor of that state had his own policemen at his command, they would have had control with the federal police. Okay? Because the federal government had to send 30,000 policemen to Ekiti State, which was very massive, if you ask me. So if he had his own police, he would have equally amassed them, and then we would have had issues. So we must consider that. Okay. The maturity must be there.
Another interesting issue concerning the police force is at the point where the acting president on Tuesday, he directed that SARS should be overhauled, as a matter of fact. And this is just coming within the same week, considering the decentralization of the police force. Do you see operations of SARS or Operation Rail Stroke that we have in Benue State performing to par, for instance?
Well, I love that SARS is being revamped. It's been overdue. so much that there was a public protest demanding for the end of SARS operations. Unfortunately, if you ask me, for the IG to immediately add federal to SARS, for me, it's cosmetic. It doesn't change anything. Okay, I mean, a 10-year-old will tell you that straight away. Now,
even though he says that they will undergo evaluation, psychological evaluation.
The name change. It's not about the nomenclature.
But he said they will undergo psychological evaluation. Isn't that enough?
Well, it's not. It goes beyond that, because the type of conduct that we had experienced with the present operations is very, very undesirable. Okay, and that was why people will now have to go on the street and protest. Okay, now for Benue, it is no longer a civil action. Military action is required, and I think that has been done. So it's no longer within the purview or capacity of any the regular police to handle. It's become a war situation. Ditto for Zamfara, which of course we have seen military action going on there.
Mr. Abolarawa, how do you see the decentralization working? I know, for instance, we're practicing the federal system of government in Nigeria, adopted largely from the United States, which has a federal police, has a state police, also has a county police as it is, what will be equated to our local governments here in Nigeria. How do you see the plan working out at the end of the day?
Like I said earlier on, I'm not yet to see the nitty-gritty of how this is going to play out, but there's one point that I want to point out, or let me say 2 points that I want to make here. The first point is that the police cannot reform itself. A sick person cannot treat himself. Even a doctor will have to consult another doctor to be able to get himself healed. So reforming police is going to end up in a disaster. And I want to put that forward now. The second point, if anybody is going to do anything about Constitution, is that there is urgent need for us to remove the police from the executive arm of the government and put them in the judiciary. Every operation and activities of the police operation ends up in the judiciary. It is the judiciary that sends people to jail. It is the judiciary that waits for every police operation to be charged to court. So currently, leaving police in the hand of the executive is like leaving a car on cruise control and then the driver closing their eyes. We're not going to get anything good. We need to bring them back into judiciary so that there will be a little bit of law and order in the way they carry out their operations.
Let me get your final words to
now,
decentralization.
very quickly, I remember on this platform one day, I mentioned the fact that with the way things are going, the world restructuring that they were canvassing, very vital. But now I see this as, bringing in through the back door, one of the issues that were raised, that that there's a need for children. Federal structure, right, is there. But the states are now saying we want our own police system. Can we sustain that still with the same picture in mind? Because you and I know that what we have here is unity government, not federal. Not federal in name.
We'll have to answer those questions at another time. I must sincerely thank you for talking to us on the decentralization of the police force, with hopes that it will be an antidote for crime reduction and prevention. Oladende Ario, a security expert, and Tubosun Abolarawa, also a security expert in our Abuja studios. I want to thank you both for talking to us, and to you as well for watching. Thank you. I am Gimbo Umar, and this is State of the Nation.